All right, so in this chapter, we're gonna be talking about nutrition strategies to gain muscle without fat. Now, this is where there's a lot of confusion in the fitness industry and the nutrition industry, and with everyday people. You see, most people, they think that there's certain foods that are muscle building or fat burning and certain foods that cause you to store fat. And I wanna break this myth for you right now. You see, gaining muscle, losing fat, so on and so forth, it's more of a numbers game than a quality game. I wish you could just eat, healthy food and your body would just gain muscle and lose fat. But unfortunately, that's not how the body works. You see, we have, the body acts more like an energy system. Your body requires energy to function, that's calories. And if you eat more calories than your body burns, that's when you store those calories. And if you eat less calories than your body burns, you start to lose weight. So what we want to do is we want to actually eat the perfect amount of calories where your body will be using that for muscle growth without spilling over to fat gain. And you can eat different types of foods. You can eat the foods you enjoy while doing so. So what I recommend is you want to eat at a small surplus. So if let's say for example, for you, that you maintain your weight with 2,500 calories per day. Great, that's awesome. If you were to eat 2,500 calories per day, you would stay around the same weight. Now, if you started doing my training I'm talking about, started doing some of the fasting, you might experience a little bit of a recomposition where you stay around the same weight, but you get a little bit stronger, a little bit more muscular, a little bit leaner. That's awesome. Now, if you want to push muscle growth faster, we want to be eating slightly above your maintenance. So instead of eating 2,500, we might go to 2,700 to 2,800. That's 200 or 300 calories over your maintenance. And this is where you're gonna be gaining muscle, but with very little fat gain. Now the problem is that most of these muscle building programs, they get you to gain fat. They wanna get you to gain 20, 30 pounds. They wanna promise you, we're gonna help you add 20, 30 pounds. So they want you to eat too many calories. They want you, if you burn 2,500, they want you to eat 3,000, 3,200. And what happens is most of the weight you gain is body fat. Now, if most of the weight you gain is body fat, that's gonna be an absolute disaster. You're gonna be looking worse. Every single week you're gonna be looking worse. Even though you're gaining some muscle, that muscle is gonna be covered in body fat. And as you follow this bulking program, these other people's programs for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you just look chunkier and you lose the facial definition, your abs get a little bloated, your muscles get droopy, your chest gets droopy, and you look very much worse. So a lot of the muscle building programs that are populated, they get you to bulk up, you get fatter, you get chunkier, and then you gain too much weight, so then you have to spend 4, 5, 6 months cutting, and by the time you finish your cut, you tend to look the same. So this does not work. What we've learned the last several years is that you need to, that there's no advantage to overeating. Eating more than your body needs to gain muscle, there's no advantage. All you're doing is you're gaining fat, and now you have to spend months cutting, which isn't optimal. So what I recommend doing is finding the sweet spot. And in this program, I've dialed down the exact sweet spot to gain muscle really fast while staying lean. And that is where you're gonna look better, because if I get you to gain 15 pounds of muscle over the next several months, and you do it without gaining any fat, you're gonna look so much better than the guy that gained 30 pounds, but half of it was body fat. You're gonna look way better. And the person gained 30 pounds, now they have to spend all this time cutting, and they're probably gonna lose muscle cutting because they don't know what they're doing, frankly. But we do, we know exactly what we're doing. So it comes down to energy balance, eating the perfect amount of calories to gain muscle without fat. It comes down to getting in sufficient protein. We know that we need to eat about 0.82 grams per pound of body weight of protein to get as much muscle as possible. Going higher than that is okay, but that's the maximum you need to gain as much muscle as possible. We know that for building muscle, you wanna have a nice balance of fats and carbs. And the reason we wanna have a nice balance of fats and carbs is because if you go too low in fat, which a lot of bodybuilders back in the day, in the 80s, fitness models, they'd go really low in fat. But if you go too low in fat, your body's testosterone levels are going to get shut down. We need to keep a healthy amount of fat in the diet to keep your testosterone levels up. And if you go low carb, what happens with carbs is carbs help increase insulin. Carbs help replenish your glycogen stores. Carbs encourage anabolism. If you go too low in carbs, you will also get a negative testosterone spike, or you get a negative testosterone effect, and your glycogen levels will be depleted, your training performance will go down, And when you go low in carbs, you don't have the insulin. Insulin is the hormone that drives storage. If you don't have high insulin, or if you're not able to get enough insulin, you won't be able to store those nutrients in the muscle tissue. So what I found is that the best way to gain muscle is to eat a little bit over maintenance and to get the perfect amount of protein, fats, and carbs. Nice balanced food. So if you're doing a low fat diet, it's not gonna help you. If you're doing a really low carb diet, it's not gonna be that effective. We need all the nutrients in a balanced format to gain as much muscle as possible.